Today, man, I'm be giving you guys a breakdown of my 3-4 over defense. I know a lot of you guys have been asking for this for a little bit now. Here it is. I did a breakdown of it a few months ago, but I'm gonna do another one. I'm gonna do this one a little bit better. We're gonna cover a ton of formations. I'm gonna give you run defense, red zone defense, blitz defense, non-blitz defense, the whole thing. First things first is we are in the Oregon Ducks playbook. There's probably other playbooks that have 3-4 over, but I mean, a lot of these adjustments you can also make as well out of different 3-4s. I do it at an over just because this is what I'm used to doing. The first things first is before we go over any adjustments, all that stuff, we need to go to the coaching adjustments. So these are what I do as soon as every game starts. I like to put option defense read key and option defense pitch key. I put both of these on conservative. This is for when the quarterback's trying to tuck it on the read option or when the quarterback's trying to pitch out like a speed option or something like that. The only time I disable the defensive motion response is if there's a couple different formation. It's like trips wide flex or something like that. If you're in like a cover zero type of man, I know in that play there's like a built-in motion play and it just glitches the whole thing out and then you'll give up a touchdown. But the point I'm getting at is only disable it when you're in game and you're like, oh shit, we're gonna need to disable this. Besides that, leave it in default because I do notice when someone's no huddling you and they're like flipping a player doing stuff like that or audible and different stuff. If you have defense motion disabled, they will not move. So keep that in mind as well. Strip ball tackling, don't touch any of that. As for the zone drops, I like to put my cloud flats on 20, curl flats on 5, and hook curls on 5 as well. These can get changed throughout the game, but this is what I like to start with. So in 3-4 over, there's a bunch of 3-4s. You got bear, you got over, under, and odd. I know a lot of people like the odd. I'm not big on the under. I think the over is just a better under, but bear is a little bit different because it brings the safety down in the box and it's only single safety high. And then the odd, the alignment's a little bit different. It's odd. It's odd. I like the over because it's a little bit more of a normal alignment, and it works for me and how I like the my run fits and all that stuff. So the only plays that I always run 2 safety high. That's how I like to run my defense. So really the only plays I run out of over is I like to run my cover 4 quarters to play all the way to the right. I like to run sting pinch. That's my blitz play right there in the middle. And then my other play I like to run is outside linebacker fire 2, the play right there in the middle. A lot of 2 safety high. I like to run 2 safety high because there's so many ways you can disguise coverages and mask things. And the offense thinks they're getting one look and the ball snapped and it gets something completely different. So how I'm going to be breaking down my defense is I'm going to have the offense come out in a bunch of different formations from empty, double, spread, bunch tight end, trips, a bunch of different things. And I'm going to show you guys different ways that I like to go about defending those things, and so you guys can kind of do the same thing. We'll also go over some red zone defense as well at the very end, but the first thing is we're going to come out in this sting pinch play, the man coverage play, so my cover 0 play, because we're going to have the offense come out in empty. I love coming out in man against empty. So the reason why I like to come out and cover 0 against empty is because they can't block the blitz. Now what they're gonna, if they're like faithfully running empty, eventually what they're gonna try to do is they're gonna motion some receiver over and try to block him. But then when they do that, we go band for band. That guy's getting blitzed as well. So that's kind of what I like to do, but we'll get to that. So how I like to set up the initial defenses against this, first of all, I like to spread the line, and then I like to also slant the line to the outside. And then you get your user right there on the line. You're also going to want to pass commit as well. All you got to do is tap the center. Just have him engage with you a little bit, and someone's coming in free. And sometimes, honestly, you don't even have to fully engage with the lineman. Just kind of hover around him a little bit and just kind of, spook him a little bit. And, as you can see, that guy's coming in free right there. And obviously the AI cheats. They're going to just hit the open guy. But in game, usually what people are going to try to do is they're going to try to hit the quick zig rest their slot guy out of this. So what I like to do is I like to shade outside. Well, actually, this is what I know. If I know I'm going to use her to the outside, then I shade inside. If I know I'm going to use her to the outside or inside, then I shade the opposite way. You know what I mean? So a lot of times, like, you'll know if they're going to try to hit quick zigs because they'll try to like audible their slot. So you can get out there and jump at a lot of time and just kind of six that thing. And then if they're trying to throw like quick drags, just kind of get back with your user. The empties, one of the least things you're going to struggle with, to be honest, because if they want to sit here the whole game in it and then, have a guy run free at their face and just try to make a read, it's just not going to work. Now, if they are starting to actually motion a guy and block it and they're having some success, then we can switch it up if we got to. If they're motioning the guy over, they're blocking him, he's getting extra time to throw it. Instead of coming out in that initial cover 0 look, what we're going to do is we're going to come out and cover 4. And this is what we're going to do. So I'll make the adjustments first, just because this makes my life a little bit easier. Basically, this is what we like to do. So it's cover 4, but it's a bit of a, what the hell, didn't even man it's got. Okay, it's cover 4, but it's a bit of a hybrid. It's like cover 4 / man coverage. This is what I love to do against this. They're gonna see that it was cover 4 ran. They're gonna look at it and be like, okay, this is cover 4, but the whole time it's not. And a lot of times what happens is they end up holding the ball a little bit longer. So it's the same thing we were doing. You know, you'll spread the line, slant them to the outside, pass commit, and then you're really just trying to make a user play. With this, you could probably safety outside, use it around the middle, and just something like that. Now, if you're really struggling and you got to drop one of the DNs in coverage or something like that, if there's a side they're putting a zig route to or something like that, then drop one of the DNs in the curl flat. Let's say it's the left side to do something like that. You're still going to get pressure at the end of the day, but like I said, empty is probably the least of your worries out of anything you're going to go against, because one, they're probably going to get out of it immediately, and if they don't, it's not really going to go too well for them. Next thing I think we're going to go over is I'm going to have the offense come out in a trips type of formation. It's not trips tight end. It's almost like it's like a spread out type of trips. I know you guys have seen stuff like this before, so usually how I'll start out is I'll start out in man coverage against something like this. Any formations where the offense is typically, you know, kind of spread out a little bit, you like to kind of give them that cover 0 man look, just because it's hat on hat, and at least this is what I like to start out in. Because if they can't beat this, then they're not getting the rest of the defense. That's just kind of what it is. So you have to be careful against an offense like this, because the running back is in the backfield. So, for example, if we spread the line and set it up like our pass defense, you got to be really careful, because a run against that could be pretty detrimental. So we're not going to set this up basically. So let me reset it real quick. How I'll do it is I'll keep it pretty simple. I'm not going to move the D-line. I'm not going to spread them, but I will slant them to the outside. I do this against most of the time when I'm, you know, sending, or not pressure, but just setting up my D-line. I like to slant them to the outside a lot. Sometimes I'll slant them down. We'll talk about that for certain situations, but this isn't one of them. So yeah, what we're gonna do is we're gonna blitz the linebacker on the opposite side of the running back. So let's say the running back's on the left, so if they run it, it's going to the right. So you're gonna blitz the backer on that side, and you're gonna use with the other backers. So and you're gonna kind of mug this line just a little bit like this, because we don't know if they're gonna run the ball or not. So that's kind of what it is. Now, if you know they're full on going to throw it, then you can spread the line, set the whole thing up. I don't know what the hell's going on with the D tackle. And then instead of setting this backer in the middle, I've been having more success literally just bringing him off, move him to the edge like that, and then mug the line like this. It's been a lot better for me personally. Then really your only worry is you have to worry about the running back. So now, if the running back keeps going on a route and he's killing you, then what you could just do is you could just man the backer up on that side. Usually the other backer, mug the line, try to engage with one of the linemen, and kind of how we talked about that before. And then you'll shade accordingly. If you know they're going to be looking to put some outside routes out there, shade outside, use the middle, vice versa, stuff like that. Now, if you're going against someone that's really running an offense like this, just straight up cover 0 man's probably not going to work. We're going to have to make some adjustments. So we'll talk about some adjustments we're going to make out of the cover 4. A lot of people that run this little gun trips, they love with the solo side on the receiver, this left side, they love putting him on like a solo side hitch or something like that. So something I'll kind of give you just a breakdown of a quick adjustment I like to do. So right here, basically what we did was the solo side that I talked about, how they like to typically put that solo guy on a hitch route. We have a cloud flat right there that's going to play the hitch. Now we also have the safety manned up on top of him, just because if he's running a streak or running some different type of route, the safety's going to be right there to play it. The right side, everyone's pretty much just manned up. You know, it's just hat on hat. Then the outside guy, usually just kind of still leave him on that third, because if they try to put a corner out or something like that, then sometimes the outside third will be able to play it. And then really with your user, you're just pretty much worrying about the running back. You want to, kind of have him on a blitz. I don't know what is going on with that D tackle, but and then yeah, if the running back's on a route, you got to play him. If not, then you can kind of use her accordingly. But the thing is, like, if the running back's on a route, you're getting someone coming in free because there's no one else to really protect against this, okay? Right here is another adjustment I like to do against this. So let's say they're really killing you with like some type of out route or corner routes to that right side, and you gotta end up dropping your outside corner in a cloud flat. Once again, we started out in cover 4, by the way. All the zone adjustments we're gonna make is gonna be out of cover 4. Just know that, because one of the big things, a lot of people don't talk about this, when you come out in that normal what is it, the Tampa 2 or whatever, what the outside linebacker fire 2, that corner starts a lot closer to the line of scrimmage, so whatever zone drop you're putting him at, if you're putting him at 20, 25, he's not going to run back to that. If you come out in the cover 4, he's aligned a little farther back, so he's able to get to a zone drop. So that's another reason why we always kind of come out in the cover 4 to begin with, is the alignment it gives us on the defense. So what this adjustment basically is right here, you have the cloud flat, 20-yard cloud flat, right? He's going to take away the corner route, anything right there. You got the 5-yard curl flat on that middle linebacker, so he's taking away pretty much the flat right there. The right safety's on a deep half, taking away anything deep, and the safety, our left safety's on an inside third. Now he started right here, but I like to actually, against a look like this, bring him in just a little, because it kind of looks like a cover 3 a little bit now, right? Now, you know, that means we can't cloud flat the left, you know, the guy on the left, and then man him up with the safety like we were doing before. So what I actually like to do is I like to man up the outside backer on him, so if he's on a hitch route or something like that, he's going to pretty much play it. And then you set up your defense or whatever. Now, when you're sending 4, you cannot spread the line. That is something we're not going to do. This is when I like to actually crash inside, not completely pinch them. You can pitch them if you want to. I would actually just leave their alignment. I'm not going to reset the play, but leave don't spread the D line, don't pinch them, but slant them inside, and then with your user kind of mug it a little bit like that. And then, like I said, you got to play the running back if he's on a route. If not, then you can kind of hover around the middle, do something like that. So that's another adjustment I like to do. And if you notice that, you know, when you're sending 4, if they are absolutely killing you running with the quarterback, just spy one of your inside guys, whoever your fastest guy is. That's usually what I do, because spies work really well in this game. One last adjustment I'm going to give you guys when you're going against this little trips look like this. This one's pretty simple. You're manning up pretty much everybody except for your outside corner. So the safety, you're going to want to man him up on the running back. And then the safety on the trip side and the backer on that side, you're going to just man those guys up on those inside guys. Spread the line, and it's almost kind of similar to the adjustment I gave you guys against the empty. This is a very quick adjustment that I like to do a lot of times, especially when I'm trying to quick snap and stuff like that. I know it's quite of a bit of adjustment you kind of got to get off, but once you do it for a while, you're just kind of used to doing it. You do it really quickly. And this is an adjustment I do like to do a lot. So when they're running the ball, the good thing about a 3-4 is you're never going to have to really worry about stopping the run. Stopping the run is very easy. I think I kind of talked about at the beginning, but yeah, you're just going to want to blitz the backer that the side's getting ran to, and then with your user, you're going to shoot this gap right here, for instance, because the inside zone is going to go to the right. So you're going to want to shoot that hole right there. I had them come out and run, so they should be able to snap it. And you'll just shoot the gap like that. Now, there is going to be some, this is how it is for pretty much almost any run-in gun in general. Now, there's going to be some where you're going to shoot it and you might get picked up by a puller guard or something like that. So what you're going to want to do is, instead of shooting this gap like this, you're going to want to just scrape over the top. So you're just scrape over pretty much like that, and you'll meet them right there if you're not able to shoot that gap. But a lot of the time, it's pretty easy. You're going to just time the snap and just shoot that gap, and it's pretty simple. Alright, so far we covered empty, we covered trips. Now we're going to be talking about spread. Like I said, we're going to go over most formations, so you guys really aren't missing out on anything. I know you guys want to see the trips tight end, the bunch strong, and all that stuff. We're going to get to it, don't worry. So a spread, like a lot of these are pretty similar. We talked about trips, spread, empty. They're very similar. So initially, I like to come out of man coverage. The coverage 0 man, and if you can't beat that, then you don't see the rest of the adjustments. So, like I said, if they're going to run it, the concept's pretty simple. Against, just like we talked about with the trips, you'll blitz the other backer. Usually the guy that's manned up on the running back, and you'll shoot the gap. If it's a base where you can't shoot the gap and they're pulling, scrape over the top like that. That's pretty much for the run game. There's nothing really too complex there. If there's any RPOs or something they're running out of it, then you're gonna have these guys are in cover 0 man, they're manned up, so you don't have to worry about it. They're gonna play it. Yeah, the same thing. You'll spread the line, move the backer to the outside, and then pretty much like that. Send the pressure, play the running back, shade. whatever you're not using. If you're shading outside, then you're playing inside. If you're shading inside, then you're playing outside, etc., etc. It's the same concept like that every time we play man. Now, like there's some formations we're gonna go over you really cannot play man against. So far, everything we've talked about, you can play man against a lot of these formations, which is good. But if you're going against someone that's actually running spread, and we got to make adjustments, I'll show you what I like to do out of the cover 4. The first adjustment right here is very similar to the one that I kind of gave you out of the empty, the one that I gave you out of the spread. We're pretty much manning everybody up except for our outside corners. We're leaving those on the outside thirds. Both of the safeties are manned up on the slot guys, and then you're manning up your middle linebacker that's on the side of the running back. In this case, it would be that left side, and it's just hat on hat, football pretty much. I like it. It's a very simple adjustment I like to do a lot of times, not kind of complicate things. And this next adjustment right here, it's a little bit weird, and I only do it in 3rd down, 4th down situations when we really got to get off the field, and it's a dire situation. For this play right here, you're actually going to want to make sure you're in the outside linebacker fire 2 play, just because it's going to be a little bit easier to make your adjustments. But basically what we have is both the outside corners are on what is it called, cloud flats, and everyone else is manned up. So both of the safeties, you're manning them up on the outside receivers. Both of the backers are getting manned up on the slot. You're actually going to want to spy somebody, because you're only going to be rushing technically 4, but now it's going to be 3. And the quarterback's probably going to get out of the pocket. So spy him, and you're actually going to user one of your outside linebackers, and pretty much, this is a dire situation when they're hitting you with a lot of outside routes and stuff like that, and you just want to, it's a really good play. It's just, you're not going to get much pass rush from it unless your 3-man goes crazy. But so this adjustment right here is something that's a little similar to the other one, except you're sending 5 out of this one. So it's the same thing. You got both the cloud flats on the outside, except this time you have both of the safeties on deep halves. Now, you do got to make sure that these guys are moved actually like very close to the outside, because if they're not and they streak that outside receiver, you guys know how it is. The guy fits that thing up the side. And you're actually going to have your inside backer on an inside third. Now, you are going to want to move him back a little bit. I would move him back. So if I'm going to use the left side backer, then I would move him a little bit to the right, kind of like that. And then the backer right here, get on the line, mug it, send that 5. Now, if you feel like you might need to send 4 here and drop an extra curl flat, let's say, to the left side, because that's the side that has the running back, then you could do a little something like this. So this is a lot of different, but I see it like there's so much disguise, like so many different adjustments we're able to make out of having that 2 safety show. A lot of times, guys don't know what they're going to get. Now, when is the time and the place to do something like this? When they're hitting you with maybe 20-yard out routes, 15-yard outs routes, hitches, stuff like that. That's what the cloud flats are used for. And then, you got this guy back on the inside third in case it's, seam streak, post route, something like that. And then with your user, you're floating around wherever you think it's going to be. Maybe take away this initial, right here from 81 and bounce it back to the left side. I don't do a lot of switch stick. I'm old school with it. I like to blitz my user, mug the D-line, and that's just kind of how I play. Last thing I want to go out of talk about spread, and actually this has nothing to do with spread. Anytime you get guys in like 3rd and longs, like a 3rd and 18, 4th and longs and stuff like that, you absolutely send the dog. So I'm going to show you guys, this is what you need to be doing. You come out of cover 4, you're going to bring both these safeties down, you're going to send the outside backer, and you're going to set something up like this, and you're going to send the dogs, and you're going to make sure that they're not going to have time to throw this ball downfield. So make sure of that. Always make sure you slant them outside. Pass commit. Always should be pass committing. Well, not always if they're going to run it, because you're going to give up a touchdown. But so just keep that in mind anytime you get guys in 3rd and longs and 4th and longs. And when I say 3rd and long, I'm talking like a 3rd and 17, or something like that. A 4th and 17. I can't say that there's times I don't do stuff like this on shorter distances, but you know what I mean. Like when you're in that situation, you're like, okay, I can't let him pick up this ball, throwing the ball deep. Don't allow him. Now let's start talking about some stuff a little bit closer to the meta. Bunch tight end. Bunch tight end is for sure something you're going to see out there. Bunch strong, in my opinion, is the thing you're going to see the most out of anything. Trips tight end a lot, but bunch tight end is still out there. You're going to see bunch tight end quite a bit. So I'm going to cover 0 man against it. I don't like to do. I'll be honest. I kind of strictly only run cover 4 against it, just because you're going to get killed just running straight up cover 0 man. It's just too tough. So running the ball wise out of this, most people kind of all run the same playbook. So the only run that I really experienced is it's like an outside stretch to the left they'll try to run, and it's really not good. I'll be honest with you. All I really do is I'll kind of just like if you just send the normal five like this, like I'm not saying I'm gonna have this outside backer and hook curl, but if you just set it up like this, don't slant the line, or not slant the line. Don't spread the line. You can slant them to the outside and just kind of stand like about right here is. When the handoff happens, you can kind of just flow to the left, and honestly, your D line's going to shed most of the time, and you know, it's just not very good. You really don't have to do much with your user, but against this run, do not try to shoot the gap. You want to actually just kind of flow with it to the left. If they try to cut it back, then you'll be there with your backers. So just kind of flow with it. It's not a very good run. You're not really, in my opinion, you're not going to have to worry about it too much. Let's go ahead and get to some adjustments, though. One of the most famous plays you're probably going to see at a bunch tight end is they're going to try to run that little whip play. It's like the two inside zigs. You got the one on the tight end, you got the one on the slot, or whatever. That's a play people like to try to run a lot. Really, what I like to do against it, so I'll break it down. Like I said, we come out in the cover 4. So we're going to cloud flat both the outside corners. We got those bad boys on 20. The safety on the right is going to be inside 30 in case they try to run some type of post route from these slot guys on the left. Then the safety on the left is going to be deep half. Now, you do want to be very careful with him because you got to move him over a little bit. If you don't have the time to, it's fine. But in the long run, try to move him over a little bit because he's going to, outside streaks with this cloud flat, they're not exactly gonna. He's not gonna be too friendly getting over there when he's lined up right here. It's just how the game is. But everybody on the D line, we're gonna send. It's a 5-man rush. So when they're running the play with the zigs, I like to use the backer on the side with all the receivers, not the tight end. And I like to keep my linebacker right here for this 5-yard hook curl because he's going to pretty much just play that initial zig. You'll spread the line, do that whole thing, get down here with your backer, and the zigs, someone's going to get it home. You'll pretty much just use this left right here. Now where it can get a little challenging is when they start putting the running back on, maybe they'll put them on a flat route or something like that. If they're doing that out of that, then in this case, what we're going to have to do is we are probably going to have to drop this outside backer in a 5-yard curl flat to take away the running back there in the flat. But you have that outside corner in that hook curl just in case they try to put that tight end on a corner route or something like that. Now, if you're finding that they're not what's it called, putting the what is it called? The corner. Like if you know for a fact that they're about to run this zig play, then you can really just do something like this. Honestly, so you can still send your boys. You can just outside third this corner instead. Have him drop down in this curl flat. Have this backer still here for the initial zig, and then he'll run into it. And then you just got to run to the left, and your boys are pretty much going to get home. But doing this, you're pretty much giving up the entire middle of the field. But like I said, if you know they're going to run this, then, route for route. I like to go route for route, man, band for band. That's how I like to do it. Now, if they're not doing the play with the zigs and they're doing stuff to where, like, they got post routes flying over the middle, guys in the flat, corner routes, just doing a bunch of different stuff, this is a pretty safe adjustment I like to do. It's pretty much just the same exact thing, except that this outside backer, he's on a 5-yard curl flat on the side with all the receivers because they'll put that guy in the flat and stuff like that. And at some point you might end up having to going against this, put your curl flat on 0 yards instead of 5 yards, just because when you put this guy on 0, he is going to fly to that flat. So that is something you are going to have to do sometimes if you notice that he's just not getting out there, and then you'll kind of mug this line, and if the running back's in a flat, you go jump that. If not, then you'll kind of float around this middle right here. So this is a pretty safer adjustment. Now, if you want to play the ultra safe defense, it's going to look a little something like this. So now instead of the right safety being on the inside third, we got him actually on a deep half, playing pretty much the right half in the field. Your linebacker that's going to be on the side of the receivers is going to be inside third, and both of your DNs are going to be dropped in curl flats, 5-yard curl flats. So now it's up to you if you want to drop the extra hook curl in there. If the quarterback's if you're running this and he's running all over you, the quarterback, then you might want to drop a spy out there. I'm honestly done with containing. It's like if I contain once and then the guy kills it, then I'm not containing anymore. I'm spying. That's kind of like my mindset. So it's a pretty much just safe adjustment. You're taking away both of the flats. You're taking away the deeper sideline, and you're just pretty much using the middle. Only thing is though, it's just pressure isn't, it could get there, but don't bank on it. Now, if they're just running the basic verticals at a bunch, we don't need to do any of that. What we're actually going to do is we're actually going to just bring both of the safeties down, and it's not going to let me do that. Usually, if you just hit Y and you hit RB, show blitz, it'll bring the safeties down, but since I guess we've reset the play like so many times, it's just glitched out. So let me see. I'll try doing it right here. So you'll do it like this, and what you also want to do is one of the safeties. I guess it's usually the right safety. I don't know usually who it is, but one of the guys, he's going to come down a little too far. You're going to want to grab him. Usually I can catch him. Like I can tell who's going to come down way too far, and I'll catch him and move him back just a little bit. But yeah, if they're just running straight up verticals, I like to just blitz the whole goddamn team. Do a little something like this, and yeah, just you're bringing both of these guys down for the quarters, so they're playing tight. You can also shade underneath as well, and then you'll pretty much just kind of use your dismiddle. And then if the running back's on the flat, always check that. If someone's in the flat on the left, go jump that. So there's a lot of pick six potential in this defense. I mean, you guys see my gameplays. I get so many pick sixes just because I'm sending a lot of bodies and I'm just jumping the first initial read. Moving on to our next formation, we will be talking about trips tight end. I'm sure you guys have seen this a whole lot. Trips tight end, it could be 50-50. Like, I'll have games where, like, if the guy's not prolific in it, he's not moving the ball. But, some guys are pretty good at it, so you have to make some extra adjustments. But so what I like to do against trips tight end, this is pretty much the adjustment I make almost every single play, but initially coming out, like, this is the adjustment I'm making. So we're in cover 4, of course. This is another formation I wouldn't really recommend just coming out and sting pinch trying to play cover 0. It's going to be too tough, so I usually come out of cover 4. What we have here is, though, the safety or the corner on the right, which is the side of the tight end. I usually like to cloud flat him on a 20-yard cloud flat. That pretty much takes away the corner out from the tight end. I leave the safety on the side of the tight end on an inside quarter. Now, there will be a situation we'll talk about where you are going to want to inside third him, but in a lot of these situations, I leave him on the inside quarter. He'll play the initial streak, and he'll just play other routes kind of on that inside. As for the left side of the field, the outside corner is still left in the outside third, and then everybody else is manned up. The safety's manned up on the inside guy, and then the other middle backer is lined up on the closest guy to the line, and everyone else is pretty much getting blitzed. Now, you do not want to spread the line against trips tight end because, one, if they run it, you're going to get killed, and two, the quarterback's going to easily be able to step up in the pocket and get out of there. Which is one of the biggest problems you're probably going to deal with running 3-4 against this, is the quarterback stepping up in the pocket and making a lot of plays with his legs. So there's no point against us are we ever going to spread the line. Every other formation we talked about, you can, except for this one so far. So for the run portion of this, there's a lot of different runs out of trips tight end. You got the RPO, which we all know, where they either hand it off up the middle or they throw it to, in this situation, it would be number 3. There's, like a little halfback base out of it. There's a counter out of it, and then there's also the quarterback power. So we're going to go over all these runs. So if they try to run the initial RPO, you're not even going to have to worry about it because you got all those guys manned up. And you're going to be able to pretty much shoot this gap. Right here is where you're going to want to shoot it. And as long as you're standing back about right here, when the ball snaps, as long as you kind of time it, you'll be able to shoot it because the RPO handoff isn't very good. And you'll be able to blow that up every time. If it's a normal inside zone, it's weird because the blocking is sometimes, I don't know what it is about this game, but one game, you're able just to straight up shoot the gap and blow it up, and then the other game, you got to kind of scrape over the top like this. So it's situational. If you're able to just straight up just shoot that gap, keep just shooting the gap. If you're shooting it and it's not working, the line's picking you up, scrape over the top like this and, do something like that. Also, make sure you are slanting the line to the outside. I do slant the line to the outside pretty much every time against this. Just don't spread the line. Now, as for the counter and the quarterback power, I do usually shift. So in this situation, both of these runs would be going to this right side, the side of the tight end. So I'm going to shift the line to that side. I'm going to have my user kind of just sit back right here, right over this D tackle, and then usually I don't really try to get too aggressive on it, except for on the counter. On the counter, AI snapped the ball great. On the counter, I'll kind of sit back and just kind of wait for the line to pull up and then kind of make the play. First of all, you're probably never going to see anyone run a counter out of trips tight end. I'm just going to be honest with you. Nobody does it. But as for the quarterback power, usually there's only a few people that run it, and the people that I play against that have ran it, they make it very obvious that they're going to do it. So what I'll actually do is I'll blitz the linebacker on that side, and then I'll bring the other linebacker over as well and just kind of you know, we'll just run over there and pretty much blow that thing up. But if you know for a fact they're running this thing, blitz everybody on that side. I don't give a damn. You just make sure they don't get yards on that thing. I know it's a little crazy, especially in the red zone. Like, just blitz everybody. But if you know for a fact to run this quarterback power, man, you know, we got to get off this field. Now you could be a little cautious in it. You could maybe do something like this, you know, inside the middle guy, and then, you know, send the house. But, you know, we talked about the run out of it. Let's get back to the you know, the coverage. So like I said, I kind of explained this adjustment though, but so I'm not going to go into too much detail on it because you guys pretty much understand it. What your goal is pretty much is, if that running back's on the flat, you're jumping that, you're sixing that. You know, usually if there's a zig on the left, you can try to jump it, but you're not going to get over there because it's just going to be too far. So if he's killing you with a zig over and over and over there, then that outside backer on that side is going to have to get dropped in a curl flat. They might try to put the running back on a angle route. You could sit right here and jump that. The tight end, they might start, you know, putting him on a bit of a drag route. So then that's, you know, having that outside backer on that curl flat will help a little bit. You kind of just sit there with it a little bit in the middle of the field, and then when it crosses over, you can, you know, kind of get out of there, use or whatever else you got to use her. And sometimes maybe they're hitting you with a flat route on both sides, and you're not able to get to the running back there in the flat because maybe they got, you know, something else in the middle of the field that you're having to use, or maybe the, you know, something with the tight end. Like I said, let's say they're maybe putting him on some type of inside route and you can't get to the running back there in the flat. They got the zig on the left. Then what you could just do is, at that point, you drop the other outside backer in a curl flat and you take away the running back. Now, obviously, it's going to take away from the pass rush, but it's just what it is sometimes. So now going back to the initial adjustment, because I'm not going to lie to you, this is literally like my base defense against when I go against trips tight end. Like, this is like my base cover 4 defense. I'm coming at it every single time, so I'm making my adjustments accordingly out of this. So let's say instead of, you know, what they're doing with the tight end, he's not on a corner route, he's not on a drag, they'll put him on that funky little post route. This inside quarter is not going to play that. So what I like to do is, if they're doing that, bring him down to the line a little bit and actually inside third him. He'll be able to kind of run with that, and that's kind of what I do against that. Besides that, that's really the only time I ever inside third. Besides that, I kind of just leave him on that inside quarter. But I think really the only other 2 things you're going to have to worry about in trips tight end is, let's say for the left side, they're hitting you with a corner out, one of the slot guys, and one of your guys manned up, you're shading him to the outside, and he's just not playing it. Then you could do something like this. What you could do is this right here. So you got the 20-yard cloud flat on the outside corner. That's taking away the corner route. You got the safety on that side, deep half, taking away the deep ball. You got the backer on that side. I'm a big double Mabel guy. As you can see, I like the double Mabel a whole lot. What we'll do is we'll put him on the curl flat right there to play anything there on the sideline. You bring the safety in the middle, inside third him, and then you got this guy pretty much dolo out there on that right in case the tight end is on a corner route. So you would have to be the one to worry about him being on any type of you would pretty much have to play the tight end, or you could reverse it like this. Move this guy to the outside like this, deep half him, and instead you put the backer on the inside third like that, and then you curl flat the outside backer. But then it takes away from that pass rush a little bit. You know me, I don't want to take away from it. But if you got to, then we got to. And then, you know, like I said, if you're getting killed with that flat on the right, you know, then you put the end on the right on a curl flat. So it's just, you know, yeah, I like I said, it's just how I make my adjustments. I make my adjustments based off what's going on in the field, and just, you know, what routes are getting put out there, what I feel I need is best. That's why I'm trying to go over any possible situation, so it can just be put in your guys' mind, you know, when you got to do what you got to do. The very last thing we're going to talk about going against trips tight end is a lot of you're going to go against some people. All they're going to do is try to roll out. Now, typically, they're going to be rolling to the right because most quarterbacks are right-handed, and most people like using right-handed quarterbacks. They're going to try to roll to the right. They might be trying to do the little. It's just levels. It's just all 3 guys are running to the right. You got a flat route on the right from the running back. This is what I like to do against that. So since they're going to be rolling to the right, and we know we're going to be rolling to the right, look, we're not going to be able to contain. It's just what it is, because containing it sucks in this game, so you're going to have to put a spy. So what I like to do is I pretty much like to man up. We do this out of cover 4, by the way. I like to man up pretty much everybody on that left side. The outside backer on that side, I like to put him on a little 5-yard hook curl. He'll actually surprisingly run with a lot of those routes to the inside are really good, which is funny. You're going to want to spy. Usually I do it to the guy rushing over the right guard. Your outside backer on that side as well is going to be a 5-yard hook curl. You got your outside corner on the 20-yard, and then you got the safety on that side on the deep half. If you feel like you don't need the deep half and you want to inside third instead, do whatever you want to do. But we're also going to shift the line to that side as well. So it'll be to the right side if they want to shift. It'll just help the spot because he's close to that side, and you know the pass rush, you never know, guy disengaged or something like that, and then you're pretty much just, you know, everything's in the middle, so you're just trying to jump these. A lot of time these guys they're not prolific passers. They're gonna throw something stupid. You just gotta hope you kind of come up on an interception. The next formation we're going to be talking about is normal. So normal is very similar to gun doubles. You know, you got a tight end on the line, 2 outside receivers, a guy in the slot, and you got a running back who sometimes he's on the left, sometimes he's on the right. I'm going to be the adjustments I like to make against these formations are very similar. There's one difference. There's that one normal where the receivers actually kind of on the tight end sides kind of lined up a little bit in the slot, but I make the same adjustments to both regardless, so it's not that big of a deal. So this will be going over next. So this is a formation where we can actually run sting pinch, the cover zero play. I know the last 2 formations I've said don't run it. This one you can, and like I said before, if they can't beat it, then you know what I mean. Then we're gonna keep running it until, you know, they stop it. So, you know, you can blitz the outside backer off the edge, bring him and, you know, do that whole thing. You got to use the running back. If the running back keeps getting on the right and he's killing you, you know, like I said, we've talked about that a million times. I'm not going to keep going over that. You guys are good going forward in the video. So when I say, you know, you can run the sting pinch, the multiple ways we've talked about it against those formations, do that. So before we get into the, you know, adjustments for the pass game, let's talk about the run. Running the ball wise out of this, what do you have to expect? You got the inside zone. I think you got like a halfback base. There's a read option, and there's a jet sweep. Those are like the 3 things to worry about. As for the read option, you don't really got to worry about it because remember, we put our coaching adjustments on conservative, so you just got to watch out for the run portion of that, and it's pretty simple. Like we've talked about before, you'll either shoot the gap. You always want to use with the backer. If you know they're going to run it on the side of the running back, and then like this outside backer will blitz. A lot of these gun runs are it's the same how you stop the run. When we talk about I form and single back, it'll be a lot different, but a lot of these runs are the exact same. So, you know, you'll either shoot the gap. If you're not able to shoot the gap, then you scrape over the top like this. It's pretty simple. No, guys are not running the ball on this 3-4 out of gun. So that's the same for the inside zone, base, read option, all that stuff. As for the jet sweep, it's pretty simple. When you see him go in motion with that slot receiver, you'll follow like this with your receiver or with your backer, and you're going to want to have pretty much just have him go off the edge like this. But as soon as you bring him off the edge like this, you actually want to click off. So you know what? I'm going to actually have them come out in a jet sweep so I can show you guys. Watch if there's not even okay. I was going to say, is there a jet sweep? Okay, so it'll be like this. So when he comes in motion, I'll show you. Delay, please. All right. So he comes in motion like that, and I actually click off like that, and then it just that player ends up taking such a better angle, blowing up the jet sweep. It's another play you're not really gonna have much problem with at all. Now let's go ahead and actually get into some adjustments. So the first adjustment I'm gonna give you guys is very similar to the one that I gave you at an empty spread and stuff like that. Basically, it's a hybrid between cover 4 and man. You're basically manning everybody up. The running backs get manned up on your linebacker. The safeties are getting manned up on the slot guys, and then you know, spread the line, that whole thing, and just something like that. It's a very basic adjustment I like to do. Shading, I'm not going to tell you what to shade because that's up to you how to shade. You're shading based off of what they're putting out there. I can't tell you how to shade. That's up to you. But typically you could shade outside because in case they try to put that tight end on a corner route, and if they're doing that, try to give your safety a bit of a head start and move him to that outside a little bit like that. It actually does help. But if the man isn't working and they're dotting it up, then you can make a little adjustment like this. What we have here is basically we're cloud flatting the corner on the side of the tight end because typically that's the side they like to put him on the corner route. You deep half the safety on that side in case the receiver's getting streaked. I like to curl flat the backer on that side as well, so you pretty much place it flat with the running back. The safety on the whole opposite side, I put him on a bit of an inside third because they might have tried to backside post route or something like that. And then with my user, I'll try to just get out here quick to this left side flat and jump anything right there. Because a lot of times what they might do is they might put them on a quick zig or a flat or something like that and try to get out there. Or what they might do is they might just have a drag on the slot, an in right on the backside guy. So what you could do is really just if they're putting him like one of the guys in a flat, one of the guys on an inside route, so it's making your user choose, then you put one of those outside backers on a curl flat like that. Or let's say, for example, they're putting a hitch on the very outside receiver, then we can, like we talked about against the trips, you can use that outside backer and man him up on the very outside receiver that's on the hitch. A lot of adjustments that I'm giving you, these adjustments that I'm giving you guys, you can apply to these to a lot of different formations. Now, some of them you can't, but you'll see formations that are very similar, doubles, trips, empty, spread, that have a very similar theme to them alignment-wise. Because that's what our adjustments are based off. They're based off alignment. That's kind of how this whole thing works. You'll be able to make some of these same adjustments against some of these very similar formations. So always kind of keep that in mind when you're doing all this stuff. Next adjustment I'm going to give you guys, it's very similar to the spread one that we kind of went over, where you got both the cloud flats on both the left and right side. Because let's say they're putting hitches on the one side, corner routes on the other side. You got both the deep halves taking away those outsides. Usually if you're gonna inside the backer, you kind of want to do it to the side of the tight end. In this situation, I put the curl flat to the side the running back's on, because that's usually the side where they're going to have some type of the running back, some type of flat route. And then in this situation, right, I'm using this left side right here. Let's say maybe I got to put something on that flat to the left also, because I'm struggling to defend everything. Then, it's something like that. A lot of these adjustments are very similar to the ones that have spread. Next formation we're going to talk about, this is the one I'm sure lots of you have been waiting for. Bunch strong. This is the most meta formation in the game. This is what you're going to see most of the time that you're on this game. At least I do. First things first, running the ball wise out of this, there's like two runs. You got the normal inside zone, and then there's like this little duo handoff. The inside zone's not very good. Of course, the AI snapped it. The duo run, I'm not gonna lie, it gives me some troubles, because while I'm trying to set up all my adjustments, when they quick snap, just hike that thing, it does get them some pretty nice yards. So what I do when they're usually running that duo play is I'm actually gonna pinch my line. I'm gonna slant them inside. I'm gonna blitz my extra backer like this. And it's going to be a little setup like this. And now the thing that's tough is they can still bounce this either to the left or to the right. You just have to go to whatever side the running back bounces to. That's pretty much how that works. Now, you also want to kind of hide yourself behind both of these D tackles, because you don't want them linemen touching you. Now let's go ahead and get to some of the adjustments. So the first adjustment I like to kind of make is this one right here. The nice thing about it is in the cover 4, our backer already is kind of aligned to this outside, so I like to cheat a lot of times and blitz him if I'm able to. And it's a pretty simple adjustment. You're cloud flatting the side with the entire bunch, because it's a 20-yard cloud flat, so he'll play the corner route. If they try to throw a quick initial flat route, he should be able to kind of get down there and make a solid tackle. You're deep half on that side as well. You don't want to give it the deep ball. And then the backside guy that's on the solo receiver side, he's on a little inside third. If you want to also, instead of leaving this corner just on the straight up outside third, you can actually, if you have time to, you're able to man him up like that. And then, you'll spread the line, pass him at that whole thing. And this is for sure going to get at home. Trust and believe that. Now, if you have to, instead of blitzing this outside backer right here, they're putting a guy in a flat. You're not able to get out there because you're playing the middle. Then we can drop this guy in a curl flat like that. That's fine. It's probably another adjustment that I make a whole lot, something pretty much like that. And you're pretty much just using this middle right here. If they're hitting you with that bench pivot style play, which is where you got the corner route on the right, there's like a little drag over the middle, and then one of the slot guys is on like a little zig route. All you'll want to do is drop the outside backer on that side. Now, this is actually the middle backer, believe it or not. He just lines up to the outside because there's no base line in this game. So the outside backer on that side, you actually drop him on a little 5-yard hook curl, and that'll pretty much take the zig away, and then you can just sit here and play the middle. I only do that when they run the little bench pivot play. That is it. For the next adjustment, what a lot of people like to do out of bunch is the solo receiver side. What they like to do is they like to put him on a hitch, an out route, a comeback, something where they know that DB they're going against is on an outside third. So what I'll do is I'll put the cloud flat on that side, and then I'll also man up the safety on that side. But the only problem is you are pretty much giving up anything deep in the middle. So you got to make a business decision with the user. Do you blitz the extra backer on the right, because you're going to have to get pressure, especially if they notice that you're doing this. You're going to have to get back with your user. So if you're leaving him the outside backer in that curl flat, you're going to have to absolutely sprint back with your user. But that's kind of where the game of chess starts to come into play when you go against a bunch, because you got to decide, What, you know, it's a guessing game at this point. For our next adjustment, a lot of times they like to run that play where pretty much everybody on the bunch side is going to the left. There's a drag going to the left. The tight ends on a little angle route going to the left. There's the deep crosser going to the left. So what I like to pretty much do is here also, you know, bring this. Anytime you have an inside third on your safety, try to bring him down a little bit, because them sitting back there on that inside third does nothing half the time. So what we're doing pretty much here is, though, you're bringing this safety, you're bringing down the safety on the side where the bunch is, all the crosses are going, which in this situation is to the left. So we're dropping that safety on the left side down on a 5-yard curl flat. He'll play the drag. We're also blitzing that outside backer as much as we can, man. If we're able to send him, you know, we're sending him, because we're trying to get some extra pressure. So with your user, you're really just worried about the crosser going over the middle, and which will be about right here, and then the tight end on the anchor route, which is about right here. So you're able to kind of bait some stuff like that when you're sending that outside backer. If you're not in this situation, you can either man him up on the tight end, or if they're actually dropping the running back in like a flat or something to the right, then you can just either man him up on a running back or play it safe and just drop on a curl flat like that, and then kind of play this middle. But the pass rush, I always feel like does such a good job getting at home against that play. I don't know what it is. This right here is going to be the last adjustment that I give you guys out a bunch. It's pretty basic. It's just normal cover 4. We're blitzing everybody. We're actually bringing both of the quarters down, though. And I call this actually the switch stick defense, because what we're going to do is here, you're going to leave the guy that you're using in a hook curl, and this is for you guys that like to kind of switch stick around. The ball snapped and you just start switch sticking, and yeah, switch stick defense. I don't do it a whole lot, but there is times I like to do it, and we're not actually pressing the corners, because doing that I've learned that you'll get bombed. For our next formation, we're going to talk about tight. You know, there's a ton of tight formations where you got everybody pretty much lined up in the middle. And this one, the tight end's actually lined up on the line. A lot of the ones they run, though, he'll be lined up just a little bit out wide also in the slot. But you guys know how tight it is, so we're going to go over some adjustments against this. Running the ball wide, there's what? I think it was like a jet sweep out of this. It's a pretty much normal inside zones, but you guys, stuff we've already talked about. You guys know what to do at this point. This right here is going to be our first adjustment. This is also another one I don't like to play cover 0 man against. Bunch is also another formation I don't like to play cover 0 man against, but there is times when we do it. You know, it's very situational. I can't tell you when to do it, because I'm not going to tell you to do it, because it doesn't really work against bunch, but there's a time to late third down, late fourth down for the money, catch them off guard. That's for bunch. But for tight, no, we're not running cover 0 man. I like to make this adjustment right here because, you know, against tight, they're looking for corner routes on both sides, flats to both of the sides. So what you got here is basically two 20-yard cloud flats taken away to the corner routes. Both the safeties are deep happed. You know, usually, you know, if they try to throw it over the middle, I'd notice that the deep halves usually kind of played a little bit, but we'll talk about when we actually need to play the middle of the field, if they're bombing you right down the middle. So but you got this linebacker right here in a curl flat running down. Typically do it to the side of the running back. Also against tight, you're probably going to want to put 0-yard curl flats, because you're going to need these guys to sprint down there. You know, you'll spread the line, do that whole thing, and with your linebacker in the situation, right, you're going to try to jump that left side right there. And then, you know, if you're not able to, you know, they got a guy coming back over the middle, I got to sit there, then you'll drop the outside backer on that side in a curl flat, then you'll sit here right in the middle. But every time, like I said, when we send 4 or we're sending 3, we do not want to spread the D-line. That doesn't mean you pinch them like this, but you'll just leave them default, have their initial alignment is. Now, if they're killing you right down the middle and you need somebody to play the middle, then you can do it with your middle backer. In this situation, I would do it on the side of the tight end, and then you'll just drop the other outside backer in that curl flat, and you'll do something like that. Now, there is a situation where you don't need to do that. If they're, for example, I don't know if I can respot the ball. Okay, I can't respot the ball. Let's say they're running the tight, for example, let's say maybe they're lined up on this like right hash like this, right? Instead of doing all that, you could honestly do a little something like this, just because there's a lot less field to work with on the right. So it's pretty much the same thing. Deep half, or, you know, cloud flat both sides, curl flat the side, whatever side you want. the linebacker to play. So let's say you wanted to play the left, for example, then you could just use the right. You're going to deep half. Instead of deep halfing the safety on the short side of the field, which is the right side, we're actually going to inside third him. Sometimes you can get away with that. It's just something to kind of keep in mind. So, all right, so we're going to go over wide trips. This is going to be our last formation. Everything we're going to talk about after this, actually after this, I'm going to talk about red zone defense, and then we're going to be just talking about how to stop runs out of certain formations like under center, people running split backfields, go stuff like that. So this will be like the last normal formation that people might try to run, maybe throw the ball out of a little bit. So first things first, when talking about wide trips, the thing that people mostly do out of this is they run a little RPO out of it. There's multiple ones, and then usually it's all to the tight end. You got the one where he's going to run to this like flat side right here. There's another one where he kind of runs like a streak. So I like to run the cover zero sting pitch play a lot against wide trips. You always want to make sure you shade to the inside, especially if you know they're playing the RPO. I don't know why. I just feel like it plays it so much better. And also because there's other little routes and stuff they like to do off the RPO. Like there's I've seen people do like a backside slant. I've seen a hitch, and I just noticed the DBs just played a lot better. So if they're not though, and they're just they're running outside routes, corner routes, then shade outside. But just kind of keep that in mind. But yeah, so for the RPO, it's very simple. The run portion of it is very easy to break up. When you come out and sting pinch, though, your safety's going to start right here. He's going to start the opposite side of the tight end, so you're going to have to run down. You got to bring him down. Bring him down about right here. He should be really good to get down there, and then you're going to use the backer on the side of the running back, shoot the gap. It's pretty easy. It's one of the easiest runs in the game to stop. And let's say they're running the flea flicker out of wide trips as well. You're shooting this gap thinking they're running the RPO, and you're blowing up the flea flicker on the way there, so it doesn't really matter. As for passing out of wide trips, I don't know. It's not really that crazy. There is some people I've played against that aren't too bad in it, but it's just not really all that. Some adjustments we'll kind of make out of this. Let me actually move this safety back to where he's supposed to be at, but this one, I don't know. Wide trips is just not all that good in my opinion. You could do a little something like this if they're corner around that right side. You got the 20-yard cloud flat, curl flat to play the flat, and then with your user, you could kind of run out here to the back. The problem is they'll probably have somebody on the inside route, so you could actually what you could do is something like this. This is a really simple adjustment. It's very similar to the one we've talked about with spread and all that stuff. Outside third on both the corners. Everybody else is kind of manned up. Safety on the left side on the running back. Backers on the tight end. And then this corner on the slot guys. That's something really simple right there. Let's say they're trying to throw a hitch to the solo side on the left receiver. Then we'll do what we've been talking about. We'll do something like this where we'll cloud flat the guy on the left, man up there. You kind of get where I'm getting at here. Put all the adjustments we've talked about. Put it into this. So we're going to talk about some red zone defense. So if we go back to every formation we talked about, there might be some little differences I like to do in a lot of my adjustments against red zone defense. We're going to just talk about like as if they're passing the ball. I'm not really going to running the ball wise. It's all the same stuff we talked about. So one of my most famous ones that I love to do is this one right here. Basically, I have my hook curls on 5. I put my cloud flats on 5. And everyone else is getting blitzed, and that's just what it is. And really with your user, depending on what formation they're in, you're just trying to use it to wherever the open spot of the field is going to be. So but you're going to get there. So this is kind of my most famous red zone play down here. So yeah, now we're going to go on to just talking about heavy run formations, how to stop the run out of that. Let's say you're going to get some under center, some single back I form. First thing I like to do is I like to hit show blitz, which we talked about. This is going to bring both of the safeties down like this. I also like to do it out of cover 4. And pretty much what I like to do, you got to blitz both the outside backers. And, I blitz extremely heavy against stuff like this. So depending where the runs go, in this situation, they're going to run this to the right. Because if they run it to the left, they just don't have that many bodies. So what I actually like to do is I'll move this outside backer on that side and blitz him like that. And then it just kind of depends. Like, I might pinch the line, maybe shift the lines to the right. It all just kind of depends, and honestly a lot of times I'll end up using the safety, so I'll probably also blitz the backer in the middle, and I like to use the safety on the opposite side I know the run's going to, just so I can kind of flow all the way over there. a little something like that. So just kind of keep that in mind against a lot of those runs. But you can pinch the line a lot of times in case it is an inside run. And like I said, you're putting the extra backer off the edge. So a lot of bodies are getting set. And if they're trying to throw the ball out of this under center, one, they're going to have less time because they have to drop back and throw it. And the route combos aren't really too good. So just, always keep that in mind. Don't be too worried about the pass against these things. It's just it ain't really going to go to somebody just got tossed. I didn't expect him to actually snap that, but somebody just got tossed. Who was on Virginia Tech? So the very last thing we're going to talk about is these split backfield type of formations, the go-go's, splits, whatever they're trying to run. You're definitely going to want to make sure your option defense and the pitch option stuff is all on conservative because you got to be prepared for all that. Now, I typically do like to run cover zero a lot of times, hat on hat football, but maybe they'll have, the guy when some of their guys go in motion and stuff like that. It's very situational, but, I usually bring everybody kind of down to the line. I don't press, I don't like to press the outside corners because I don't care who you got out there. They just always seem to get cooked. What I'll typically use with the safety, I'll have the inside backer kind of blitzed. I'm not going to pinch. I'm not going to spread the line. And I'll use one of the safeties. So usually whoever gets in motion, if one of the guys is going in motion, I'll try to just run with them if it's to the right, if it's to the left, and they're, trying to throw the quick swing pass or whatever it is. Or initially I'll try to run with it. If I'm like I have to be there to help stop the run, then what we'll do is we will drop a curl flat out there. So the initial thing is you're like, okay, drop one of the outside backers. I don't like doing the outside backers, and the reason why is because, one, let's say you try to drop the outside backer on this left side right here. He's the read guy for the quarterback, so he's not going to do anything. Let's say you try to do it to the guy right here on the opposite side. I don't know what it is, but the outside backers just don't react very well to those motions and stuff like that. So I usually use one of the inside backers. So whatever side you think the motion's going to, once they've ran it once, you have an idea of, if it's going to the left or the right based off the alignment of the formation and, what side it's supposed to go to. So let's say, for example, I know it's going to the right, then I'll usually typically probably have this guy in a 0-yard curl flat. You have to pass commit, though, because if you don't, the curl flat won't react, and he'll usually run right down there and pretty much go play it, and then you're there to help play the run. So if you want to, have that guy blitzed and this guy swell, do something like that. Or like I said, at the end of the day, you could just, try to user it yourself. Just always keep that in mind when you go against those offenses with two backs in the backfield, because usually how the little RPOs work out of it, it's either going to be, for example, right here to this right side where all those receivers at or all that junk, or if it's one where the tight end's kind of in the backfield, he usually slide across the line. So just kind of keep all that in mind. Yeah, man, I think we honestly covered we covered almost everything. There really wasn't much we missed. I know it's a lot. It's a long video, but this is just how I can break it down, man. I can only give you I play defense very unorthodox. A lot of people say that. You guys know that from watching me play. It's just a different style defense I play. So when I give you it, I'm going to give you to it exactly how I do it. Even though I'm sure there's some stuff I left out because, it's honestly physically impossible for me to give you every possible adjustment I've done because I go route for route, man. It's just what it is. So if you guys do have any questions, though, about anything we talked about, you guys can comment that down below. But that's pretty much all we got for this one, though, man. If you guys did enjoy this video, man, if the video helped you out, you guys could drop a like. That'll help me out a lot because the video took a while to make. Also, if you're not subbed to the channel, man, sub to the channel. We got lots of more College Football 25 content on the way. And if there's any other videos you guys would like to see, breakdowns or anything in general, you guys can comment that down below as well. But till the next time, man, I will see y'all in the next one.